Welcome to the Booktrovert Babes podcast, where two friends decide to bring our dramatic conversations about books here for your entertainment. I'm Rubik's, mom of 5, and a baby reader just entering my book era.
And I'm Taylor, mom of 2, and a well-seasoned book era veteran. Today we're going to talk about our 2025 bookish resolutions. New year, new reader.
Is it?
Probably not, but we're going to try. I have a list of my resolutions as a reader. I'm hoping at least half of them get accomplished in the new year.
I don't know if I necessarily have new resolutions. I have a new goal and a new system.
Okay.
I think I'm going to make my reading goal 100 this year.
Atta girl.
Because I'm getting better like on the monthly numbers. And last year I hit almost 70 and did really well considering I had several months where I did not read a thing.
Yeah. You
so
really
if I could just
came in
do
clutch
steady
the last
pacing.
half.
Yeah, I did. And the two main months where I did not read anything were like February and September. Those are the 2 months that I mainly just didn't read at all. And like if I split it up in half, I probably could have hit 100 last year.
We'll say the months where you did phenomenal were October, November, and December.
Yeah.
And someone made a monthly reading goal. I think hitting your yearly reading goal is easier to get to if you hit monthly reading goals.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Because then you're not focusing on the bigger number, you're focusing on itty bitty little numbers that feel more accomplishable. And then by the time you get to the end of the year, you're like, oh, I'm so fucking close to this goal. I got this. Yeah. And then you also like account that December's full of like novellas and cutesy holiday things that aren't that long. So
well, I mean, intentionally, like I intended to have a bunch of novellas this past December, and none of them turned out to be novellas. They were all full-length books. I don't think I'm good at novellas in general. Everything that I think is a novella never ends up being a novella. So yeah, so I think I should be able to do 100 this year. And I have a new system, which is going to make building my TBR a little bit difficult, but I think I might still be able to do it. But it's going to make it really difficult for y'all to like add things to my TBR. So that's going to be interesting.
So what I'm hearing is our fantasy TBR book club that we literally just created 2-3 weeks ago is already in shambles.
Not in shambles. It just I might not be reading stuff at the exact same time y'all do.
Like right now?
Like for example. Right now. Listen, I don't
you're
know why
behind
you're
on both book clubs.
I don't know why you're yelling. Okay.
It's
been a year already.
I just don't want you to forget about us in the book clubs.
I'm not going to forget. No, that's not it. It's just that I have a very specific way that I'm going to go through books just to kind of help me. I think it'll help with my ratings. Like it'll help me be more invested in the books I'm reading at the moment.
Okay.
So what I'm doing is I have, if you've known me for a while, you know that I have this lovely little app on my phone. That's a wheel spin app. And what I have is basically several wheels and my, not necessarily like my TBR for the month, but like my main TBR, like my big hefty list.
The pie slices were so small.
They were so small.
They almost didn't exist.
Those were only a couple of wheels. So I've got like one that's just series that I want to read. And most of them are fantasy. And then one that's like standalones, and one that is a series that I need to finish, like that I've started the first book and I need to go to the next books. Listen, you're going to be yelling at me the whole time. We're not going to do this.
I was listening back to an old podcast the other day because I just wanted to reference something, and we were talking about Taming 7. That episode was recorded in August. It's January. Where is Taming 7?
I'm getting there. Okay. So
is it on a wheel spin or is it a priority? That's all I want to know.
It's on a wheel spin because I also have to wait for it to like get back from.
Because you lost it so many times in the Libby app?
Yeah, I rented it. I borrowed it in the Libby app so many times, and now I have to wait to get it back. I haven't even. It's been so long since I borrowed it again that I don't even want to know where I am on the hold list. Okay. But so I have all these separate wheels, and then I have another wheel that basically chooses from those wheels. So I'll spin the wheel and see, am I going to read a series or
and you go to the next wheel,
finish another series, or and then I will go to the corresponding wheel and decide what I'm going to read that way. Because I have so much on my TBR now that it's getting too ridiculous, and I'm forgetting about books that I actually have an interest in. And so by the time I see them later, it's like, wait, what was that? And it's
but what if when you do the
I
wheel
really
spin,
wanted to read it when I looked into that.
What if you do the wheel spin and the book that pops up you're disappointed by and you don't want to read? Do you just respin?
I'm also going to start practicing DNFs.
Oh, okay.
What?
I'm just so scared. Although, most of your TBR at this point,
everything that you give me, aren't you?
I'm not going to give you anything. No. That you're on my resolutions for the year. No.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on your resolutions?
Yes.
I don't like that.
It's not bad.
I don't like it.
It's just, I think we wheedled around in your first year as a reader, first strong year as a reader, I'll say, not first year, but like strong comeback year.
No, I mean, I would say first year.
Yeah. I mean, last year's probably the most books you've ever read in a year. But
for sure.
We were dabbling in the world of what you like, what you don't like, what to wreck you, what not to wreck you. And so in 2025, I'm just going to be a different wrecker for you, mainly to save our friendship. So I don't get hurt anymore.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I was talking about this with Kaylee literally last night I really try to fine tune what I will wreck to a person. I don't really have a lot of books that are my go-to. Like when we did our 2024 wraps of like the book you wreck everyone. I don't really have one of those because everyone's such a different reader. Like I have my staples where I'm like, I just want everyone to love it. But I am self-aware that not everyone's going to love my ultimate 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still trying to figure you out is what I'll say for 2024. And I think I have a grasp. So I'm just rearranging how I go into a rec for you. That's how I'm going into 2025 if I'm going to rec you a book. So I'll just do it. I'll just skip to it. It was like 4th or 5th on my list. So my resolution when it comes to book recs for you is 2 things. I'm either going to ask you to read something with me that's organic. So that's part of our little side hustle fantasy. And it's only going to be fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
So that way it's not technically a book rec. It's a, hey, read this with me. And then I can't be offended if I liked it and you don't because we're both reading it for the first time. Whereas if it's a book that I love and then I give it to you like a little present and you hate it, then I'm sad. But if I loved it, but we were both reading it for the first time, it's less sad.
Yeah, that's fair.
So most of the books are going to be that. I don't know that I'm going to rec you a lot of stuff this year. I think more so just going to organically read new things in the fantasy realm with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to get into like gothic fantasy this year just because of how much I loved the Shepherd King
Dark
duology.
Window
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's my other thing is I'm just going to hunt down. I'm just going to hunt down all the gothic fantasies. And that's what I'm going to ask you guys to read in our little fantasy girly.
Well, yeah. Tell me any gothic fantasies you find. I'm in for those.
Yeah,
I just have to work them into my monthly TBRs because I'm going to have to go by, like if the first 2 spins are series and both series have a whole bunch, like I'm probably not going to add anything else. That's my other thing
with you. I hate series. It's 1, 2, and done. I might give you the 3rd. Like we're doing I don't even know what the series is called, but the Powerless, Reckless, and I know Fearless is coming out soon. It's a trio. I don't know what that series was called, but like max out at 3. I don't want to be reading anything that was going to require me to read for 5 months where we do once a month. Like I can't do any more series. I'm maxed out on series and I'm over them.
See, and that's one thing I want to focus on is when I do a series, I want to go straight through them. So that's one of the reasons why that's a separate wheel spin is because I'm going to spin the wheel and whatever series I land on, I'm not reading anything else until I finish that series.
Which
like once I start it, I'm not finishing it.
Oh no. So we're definitely not buddy reading Throne of Glass because I'm not reading that in one sitting. Neither is Kaylee. Kaylee was going to go one by one.
What are some of your other resolutions?
Well, you see here. I am prepared. They're all written down. My number 1 goal. This is the one that's probably going to be the hardest to achieve, but I'm going to do it. By the end of 2025, I want to have 0 books on my physical TBR.
Whoa.
I counted every book in my house that I have. I have 31 books that I have not read that are on my physical TBR. I want that to be 0 by the end of the year.
So does that mean you're not going to buy any books.
Correct. That is the next resolution I have. I am only going to get shelf trophies or pre-orders. So I haven't read Onyx Storm. I'm reading it the millisecond that thing gets on my doorstep. So I want to be very mindful about books that I acquire this year. So my goal is I'm not buying anything. Like if I go to Target, I'm not just going to go buy something. They either have to be like special edition, a pre-order of a book that I'm going to read immediately. That one's probably going to be my hardest in the sense of I have no shelf control.
None.
But I really want
I'm trying to think if I could
0.
even count how many times you've been like, I'm on a book buying ban, and you end up buying at least 4 books.
I don't want to talk about it. But so remember
like
the other day,
single time.
remember the other day I texted you that this was what the podcast episode was going to be, and I was like telling my mother about them, and I said I had a funny story to tell you. So I was making this resolution list with my mom, and I was like, I have the 0 physical books on my TBR by the end of the year. She's like, oh, how many is it? I was like, I have 31. She's like, oh my God, I can't even imagine having that many books. We are sitting in my mom's living room. Her entire TV entertainment center is a bookshelf. That whole, from like floor to ceiling, wall to wall, there you cannot see the wall that it's on. It is a bookshelf that wraps around with the TVs in the center. I look her dead in the eye and I was like, I guarantee you have more than me. She's like, there's not a chance. Mind you, again, dead in the eye. I stand up, I walk to the bookshelf, and I start pointing, and I go, did you read it?
You
yes
are
or
that
no?
asshole
And I went
child.
through every single bookshelf that she had. Mind you, I was so nice because she has other rooms with other bookshelves. I know my mother has a pile of books next to her bed that are all to be read. We got to 44 just in the living room. And then she starts outing herself and admitting what's up in her bedroom. And she's like, you know what? Let's just even add an even 50. So I was like, you made fun of my 31 and you're sitting at 50. We're being generous because we didn't touch the other bookshelves in the house.
And those are books she has not read?
Has not read. There were some that she was trying to excuse. Like, I just got that for my birthday. Because my mom's birthday is the day after Christmas. And a lot of us got her books. She's like, I just got that. I was like, I don't care. It's sitting on the bookshelf.
It's still there.
It's still
you
there.
Haven't read it.
She's like, I just started that. You can see the bookmark. You're like 2 chapters in. You have not finished this book, Mummy. So
Mommy dearest.
So she had a lovely reckoning of realizing she owns more than 100 books. But in her brain, she did it. And I was like, Mom, I look at books every single day. I know that in your head, you're like, I only have a couple of books. No. She has 50 books that she has not read. And she was trying to be like, 31? So, love you, Mom, but I'm calling you out. I did tell her I was going to do it too. I was like, I'm putting this on the podcast because you tried to roast me and you are even worse than me.
I love that has become like our favorite mic drop phrase lately is every time we're like, I'm putting that in the podcast. I'm bringing that up on the podcast.
Because anytime someone ever wants to question like how this started, like why am I such a book hoarding hoe? Both of my parents
why am I such a book hoe?
I am a book hoe. Both of my parents have obscene book collections. Like my father is the same way. His living room has 4 bookshelves, all of which are so full that they have like the thing that you hate where it's like there's no rhyme or reason. They're like just thrown on because they fit. Both of my parents though have so many books. So it's not my fault. It's in my genetics. So I'm not going down for my 31 book TBR, which I feel like is so reasonable of a number with how many books I own.
That's fair. That is fair. That's so much though, and that means you can't buy anymore because you're just going to make that number bigger.
Yes, because my treat to myself is I have been seeing these folders to like save money, and I'm trying to do it because
like the envelope system.
Yeah, so I have
that.
one that I wrote. My birthday is January 5th, obviously, so it just passed, and I did not buy myself a single book with my own money, to be fair. I used Christmas money to buy myself more books, but that's a whole other thing. That doesn't count. And again, they were special editions of books I've already read.
I didn't buy those as we're technically free.
Girl math. Book math, girl math together saved me. It was money from my family for Christmas and my birthday, and I used it to buy special editions of books that I love. Or people bought me special editions of books that I love. So I did not buy myself. So like last year, I think for my 30th birthday, I went like all out and I bought myself like 15 books for my birthday. And I didn't do it this year. And I was like, I'm going to be so mindful of the books that I spend or book money that I spend this year that I'm not going to buy any books. So that way on my birthday in 2026, I can just go ham. I'm going to buy all the books that I want because I hit 0. If I don't hit 0, then I can't go ham for my birthday next year. It's like my little treat system.
My little treat system.
I'm very nervous though, because do you know what series that I own?
Oh God.
Throne of Glass. So I actually don't have a fucking choice. Part of my physical book TBR is I own the Throne of Glass series.
You're finally gonna read it then, huh?
Yep. I don't have a choice. If I want to hit 0 on that physical book TBR, I have to read Throne of Glass this year. You know what the funniest part is? I actually don't even own all of the books in the series. I own over half of them. So there's that part of me that's like, hey, technically, I don't own the last. But at that point, like I'm already 7 books in. I have to read the last one. But yeah.
That goes against your series rule too.
It's because I just keep getting them when Target has that like buy 2 get 1 free. And I just chuck on the next Throne of Glass book. Just get it. So, but again, I am only buying shelf trophies. I did put like a thing to the pre-orders that I wanted to try and not have more than 10. And then I thought about it rationally and I was like, no, I'm going to surpass that. There's not a chance that I'm going to be under 10 on pre-orders. So I know myself, okay? And I can't lie to myself, as we say. So I'm just not going to buy books when I go out in the world unless it's a shelf trophy.
I am going to, one of mine is to start making more shelf trophies. I want all of my favorites to rebind them.
So happy.
Slowly.
That happened.
Slowly.
The shelf trophy episode wasn't even that long ago.
I know. I was so sure of myself too. I was standing so firm. And I mean, like, here's the thing though. All of the books that I'm going to be buying, they're not going to be new. They're going to be used. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm actually going through and repairing them, you know.
You're a fucking wizard with that. That was the most magic. Like, now I'm genuinely like, do I have any books? Not that I'm like, do I have any books? But then I think of like who I am as a person. I don't have any damaged books. But I was like, if I ever do though, like, I'll just send them to you and be like, can you fix this? Thanks. Like the before and after shot of the watermark one that you sent me. I was like, no, you bought a new book.
No, that was like a legitimate spill to like I don't know if it was coffee or tea or what, but somebody had like spilled some liquid and it went through. It was like 15 pages where this spill had been like absorbed by the pages on the edge. And I had to go through and just clean every single one, but I did it and it worked out really, really well. And then I also I cleaned them, dried them up a little bit, and then I had to iron the pages so that it wasn't like puckered. It turned out really good.
Is obscene. I could never.
I took the opportunity to like iron out some of the dog ears and stuff too, because I'm also like all of the rebinds that I've been doing, I'm gilding the pages as well.
Yes,
I want to try spraying them at some point, but right now I'm just putting the really pretty foil, and that is a process.
Oh, I can imagine.
Like, no, you can't. Like, even if you think you can imagine.
Well, I've seen like the TikTok ones. I will say my favorite part of those videos though is sometimes like, because some videos on TikTok you can fast forward. I like going to the very end where they do the crunch. It's just such a satisfying crunch. It is
so satisfying. The crunch is satisfying, but even just seeing it is really satisfying. But like, in order to do that, you have to sandwich it so tight in the press. And then I have to sand the crap out of the pages to get them really, really smooth and glossy to where like when you tilt it on its side, it's really reflective. So like it's a process. And if you have any dog-eared pages or pages that are bent at the corners at all, throws it all off, because then when you gild, you have holes.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to look like once you pull it off after you finish the gilding there, like it's supposed to look like a completely flat metallic surface. And so if there's any little holes, and then if you go back in afterwards, like I did one book for the girls where one of the pages was dog-eared and I didn't realize it. And it was a tiny dog ear, right? It wasn't like a big one. It was just like the tip of the corner, like it just got pushed or something.
Yeah.
Did not realize it, went through the entire process of gilding the book, then saw it when I was separating the pages afterwards, like cleaning up the edges. I was separating it and I saw it and I unfolded it. And then when I closed the book, that one little page is just sticking out like a sore thumb. And I'm like, oh, it's going to bother me endlessly because it's sticking out and has no foiling on that edge.
Yeah, and nothing bothers someone, like tiny little details more than you.
Oh, yeah, no. The tiniest thing is off and I'm like, it drives me crazy. So yeah, learning how to repair them, it's a process, but it helps the end result be much more satisfying. But also because rebinding is such a process, I don't see myself having like 30 shelf trophies by the end of the year or anything.
I just love, though, that I know that's what you're doing all the time now. So when you're not texting me back or I feel like you're ignoring me, and I just text you and I say, stop bookbinding and answer me.
What you binding?
Or I'm like, stop binding for 5 minutes and just respond to me.
Well, I mean, you're doing that now because you know that I'm binding several books at the moment for
but you were doing it
all
of majority of December, and then I know that's what you've been doing. So I'm just like, I know what you're doing. I know you're not busy. Like, you could respond to me for a second.
It's hard to, though. Like, I have part of the reason
depending on where you are in the process.
Yeah, like, because I mean, if I'm in the middle of something where like it's pressing and the glue is just drying, then it's not such a big deal. But the rest of the time, like, I'm getting like messages, like my phone's just going bloop, bloop, bloop. Bloop,
that would be
bloop.
Me and Mel throwing a tantrum because you're ignoring us.
And in that moment, I'm like, my hands are in some kind of weird contorted position, covered in glue. You know when glue is wet, so it's not sticky yet?
Yeah.
And if you let go, it comes apart. Like, you have to hold it for a little while.
You gotta wait till
it
it gets like tacky.
Grab on enough to be tacky. Yeah. So like a lot of the times y'all send me text messages like that right in those moments. I'm like, how do they know? Why do y'all always text me in the moments where I cannot physically grab my phone?
My favorite was the other day when Mel and I were just being so Mel's birthday is 3 days before mine, and we went full dramatics of like, it is our birthday week and you're ignoring us. And my favorite part is how you just gentle parented us. I have 5 minutes, girls. Say whatever you want to. You have my full attention for the next 5 minutes. I'm waiting for something to
You have my attention for 5. I think it was more than 5 minutes, but I was like, you have my attention. Like, I literally put everything down.
Parented us.
Oh, I wish I had sent y'all like a video, because I was dramatic on my end too. Y'all just didn't see it, but I was so dramatic, and I'm like, nobody talk to me for 10 minutes. I have to focus on Mel and Taylor.
Okay, to anyone wondering though, I will pull up the freaking thing. This was at like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock mine and Mel's time, so 7 o'clock your time. You had not texted us the entire day, and just so everyone understands how fucking codependent we are, we text from the millisecond we all wake up until we all like slowly dissipate and fall asleep. We're texting all day. We could be texting about food. We could be texting because we're annoyed. We could just literally be texting just to text and throwing memes at each other.
Like, down to should I get McDonald's today?
Like, yes, literally. And then what should I get at McDonald's? So she had gone 12 hours without communicating with us, and we are so codependent that we share locations. So we knew she was home not doing anything, but it had been 12 hours of you not
you knew I was home. I was obviously doing things.
No. I mean, like, you weren't out. You weren't at the grocery store. You weren't out to eat with anyone. You weren't picking anyone up from an activity. Like, 12 hours that you neglected us. And it's not like Mel and I weren't texting in the thread. You just were so busy with your book binding that you neglected us.
I don't have a lot to say to that because it's true.
She went from not having shelf trophies to now she can't stop.
I don't know why you're yelling. But most of the stuff I'm binding right now is not even for me.
I know, that's why I can't wait till you actually get to the stuff that is for you.
I know. Like, because I have 4 books that I'm going to be binding that, like, I've already got the covers ripped off and they're ready to start prepping. But it's painful.
Every time?
It is.
Has it gotten, you've done a few now. Has it gotten any better?
No, I am so ridiculously careful. It takes me way too long. I cannot do it the way you see them do it in the videos.
Where they just like heat it off. Yeah.
I cannot do it because,
it feels disrespectful.
Well, like, there's the end pages are glued to the cover.
Right.
On most of those. So like I try to be super careful to where I am separating the glue from that page first. But even when it gets to the spine, like that part, the middle part will just come off, like the top layer of the paper comes off and the rest of the stuff is there, which is fine. It makes it a little bit easier for me to work on the spine later. But when I'm trying to rip off the cover, I'm trying to keep it intact because I haven't decided what I want to do with the covers yet. Like, I want to do something with the original covers, but I haven't decided how I'm going to do that. So I'm trying to keep it as intact as possible. And so I'm like really careful. It's like when you see somebody open a present that you wrapped for them and they're like trying to peel off the tape instead of ripping the paper. It's like that. Like, I am that ridiculous and trying to be so careful. So yeah, it makes it take a lot longer, but it hurts to rip off the covers for sure. And seeing the books stacked on my counter that I have them sitting on, like
all naked
with no cover, they're just naked books and they're all stacked. I'm like, the moment one of my million children brings a drink anywhere near that,
I can just imagine the chaos.
oh my God, I would lose it. Like,
it's like, don't breathe next to them.
like,
They're
good thing I know how to fix
vulnerable.
it if it happens, but also I really
But it's
don't want to
tedious
have to
process.
take the time to do that many pages.
So is
But
one
yeah.
of your resolutions learning to spray the edges then?
Yeah, I do. I really want to learn to spray the edges, like, and have like cool stencils, kind of like how Iron Flame and Fourth Wing, how she had the like dragons on the edge. I really want to learn to do that.
On a one, because it's going to be the same thing where the dragons are like stenciled onto the side.
Yeah, I want to learn how to do that, which I mean, honestly, like, I know how. I just want to like get good at it, basically.
Get good.
And I haven't tried it yet because I have been focusing on like the actual gilding rather than spray paint. Spray paint can be very messy.
See, I think I will send you my book when you have the sprayed edges going, because I don't love gilded pages. I don't know if you've noticed. I only own a couple, and it's because they're those Barnes & Noble ones that are like the leather bound ones. I like a sprayed cutesy edge. I don't love the gilded look because I'm not going to display that. So like the ones that I have displayed are like really pretty stencily sprayed edges. The gilded ones, I just have the spine out. So when you're a sprayed edges queen, I will send you my beloved book that I'm holding onto very tight. Like, I'm not even the one who has to rip the cover off, but like just thinking of the fact that you're going to rip the cover off of it is like,
yeah, I know.
That could be one of my resolutions. I have to let go so that you can rebind it for me.
I know. I've been asking you to send me your book.
I just am so scared. I don't want you to touch it. I have to let go, but I'm like, I don't want her to rip it.
Am I going to have to just buy my own copy?
I won't do that to you because it's like a $23 book, and I don't think you're gonna find a used copy of it.
No, probably not for that one because
it's very indie.
Yeah, and I am trying to do like used books, and like the only thing I can't do anything that's been like written in ink on the inside.
And I wrote all over mine.
Well, I mean, I can do that for like I can rebind your book, and that's fine. For the books that I'm buying to rebind as my shelf trophies. I can't have any highlighter or any written in ink. There have been a couple of pencil marks and stuff that I've gone through and just like gone through erasing, and they look okay. Like, they're not perfect because you can kind of still see that something was written there, but it's still pretty good. But like, I've been buying used books that the covers are already kind of in shambles, the pages are dirty and stuff on the edges. Those don't bother me.
Before and afters on our Instagram.
I know. I need to take some really pretty pictures. The ones that I'm doing now, I took some really cool like little videos where I can do the transitions.
Well, I think you can even do it in the process of like how you're cleaning it up. I'm making you a resolution. You're going to use our Instagram more for your stuff for when you're doing the book, because I think it's interesting to watch that process. Even like when you're taking the watermarks out. Like, it's a very interesting process and tedious, but that's very my resolution. Tedious. You're going to post more about the stuff that you're doing bookish-wise.
Okay, I can do that.
Made you your own resolution. You're welcome.
I almost want to, because my favorite videos, one particular channel that I like watching, it's the whole process, but has like, it's not really ASMR, like you can hear everything that they're doing, but it's just got like some real chill, like lo-fi, relaxing music in the background.
Yeah.
And even Baby Sunshine, like that is the one playlist I know that if she's refusing to go to sleep, I can put that playlist on and she gets so fixed on it. I don't know if it's the music or if it's the bookbinding that
anything to help that little one sleep. Take it.
For real. Sleep is for the weak, apparently. She's got a strong personality. Sleep is for the weak and clothes are for the weak.
Yeah, she's really strong.
She refuses both. But when she refuses sleep in the night and I have to have her in the room with me, I'll put on one of those videos and she will be so fixed on it. And I don't know if it's the music. I don't know if it's the actual bookbinding that she's like somewhat interested in watching, but she just zones out on it completely.
That's so cute.
She's not even 2. Why does she care about bookbinding?
It's in her blood. She knows. She's destined for great things.
But I do want to kind of make some videos like that. I think it would be fun. I just have to get like my process more refined so that my shit is not everywhere, because I cannot do bookbinding without it looking like a bomb went off.
For someone who I know is so OCD, Your crafting stations, when I've seen the photos, are a mess. Like your brain is so not like that when you're crafting, and yet the outside of your crafting is a mess. There you go.
Well, because once
resolution.
I'm sat in there to like start working on stuff, I don't want to move. So everything has to be within arm's reach.
Yeah.
So I have piles of things and buckets of things, and it's not like I have like fancy organizers to like keep everything separated. So it all just kind of goes into a bin of like the tools I use a lot and the tools that I'll need halfway through the process for like one or two things, and then won't touch the rest of the process. Like I have these little bins for that. And so they're just kind of all everywhere. But yeah, it's a mess. I haven't refined it to the point of where I can make it look nice and do a nice video. But I want to start doing some like maybe some streams where I'm just working on some of the rebinding and can make those into videos and like have a camera that's pointed on what I'm doing. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
That's
a little resolutions for you. And you didn't even think you had that many.
Well, because I don't really see them as like resolutions. It's more just like these are plans I have.
Yeah. I see it as like a resolution or a goal. This is something you want to strive to do in the new year.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Do you have any others?
Yeah, I am planning on going through, it's a little backwards, I know, but I am planning on going through every single favorite like movie and show and reading the books that they're based on. All of my like faves. So
backward, but makes sense for you because you are more of a movie TV show person.
100%, always will be, because I could be a professional binge watcher at this point. Like I am so good at just barreling through TV shows. Like yesterday, actually, I read a little bit in the morning, but I completed 2 TV shows yesterday.
I was going to say, you know what's going to be nice about the bookbinding? It's a great way to audiobook or watch like a random show to just chuck it on.
Oh, for sure, because I can't stop it too. So like because my hands are busy. So like I'm going through them, and I really love that. Like just sitting and like having the fireplace, videos or whatever on my TV and just like listening to my books and binding, like that is a huge comfort spot for me right now. Mm-hmm. So I love that. And I don't know if it's going to make me bind more or not, but it is very, very comforting, very, very cozy.
I think you'll have more than 30 books by the end of the year, is my guess.
I'm not going to have that many.
You don't know that, because what if people just send you books for you to bind for yourself?
I don't know. I can't see myself buying that many books.
Yeah. You don't have to buy
like so far, the only ones that I have for myself, I have House of Leaves. I have the first 2 books in the Akatar series. And then I have One Dark Window and 2 Twisted Crowns. The only other series that I'm really set on getting, I want to get the Never After series by Emily McIntyre and the Black Witch Chronicles. Bestie. And House of Salt and Sorrow.
Bestie. So you have 5. There's 7 books in your series, the Black Witch Chronicles. There's 6 in the Never After. So there's an additional 13 to the 5 that you already have. You're at 18. Then the House and the 2 Salt and Sorrows and what was the second one called?
Roots and Ruin.
Roots and Ruin. So you're basically at 20 books already. You're only 10
I didn't think
off.
this through.
No, you're like my mother who's looking at a bookshelf full of books and is like, there's not even 30 books there, owns over 100 and hasn't read half of them. I'm not going to have 30 books, lists 20 off the bat.
Yeah, and then if I start going to like old faves, because I plan on reading the entire
what if you love the
Harry Potter series,
Harry Potter,
Dune,
Throne of Glass.
I could see myself doing a really cool rebinding of Dune.
See, so you're gonna have at least 30.
Damn it!
You thinking you're not going to is adorable, but you're already sitting at 20, and it's very close.
To be fair, I don't think I'm gonna get all of those rebound this year.
I don't know. You're very hyper fixated on it.
I am, but I don't know.
I will say, I know obviously the materials and buying all that will slow you down, but
that will slow me down. Buying the actual books used to is also slowing me down because I really don't want to spend more than $10 on a book. And
I love that you said that, and then Mel and I immediately were like, "Oh, have you checked Primark or Book Outlet?"
Yes.
Like, what?
Like, oh, hi, you could have told me this before Christmas when I was looking for all these books to buy.
See, I thought you already knew about them. But yeah.
No, why would I know about them? I don't buy books.
Well, when you said you were looking for used books, I thought if you had typed in used books, then like Book Outlet is the #1 used book website. So I thought it should have just come up.
But I mean,
I
don't even know about used book websites. The only website I had looked on was the website for, there's like a chain here of half price books.
Yeah.
And that was what I was looking on mostly.
Oh,
that and Amazon, like for the used ones.
Book Outlet, I think once a quarter, does their annual $5.99 sale. Every book on their website goes on sale for $5.99. And if you spend over $50, you get free shipping. Oh, I'm dead serious. So that's how I have most of my Emily Henry books, is I get them off of Book Outlet because I don't want to spend the real money to buy them. I just want to spend the used money to buy them.
My husband's gonna be so mad at you for telling me this shit. Like, do you
okay, but
understand?
think of how much money I'm saving you by telling you there's a $5.99 quarter sale.
$5.99 is pretty ridiculous for a book.
Every Bridgerton book I have, I got from the Book Outlet because I just got the whole series, and then all of the Emily Henry books I have were from Book Outlet.
Love to have those bound too.
Could you imagine? I was thinking that because when you did Little Princess for your youngest, I had thought about that. I was like, oh, you know, it would be cute because you're already kind of in that style with this, is if you rebound the Bridgerton series.
Yeah, I could see doing that.
The only thing is, I don't think you're ever going to read the Bridgerton series.
I'm planning on reading it this year.
Okay, just don't have
that's one of my things of like the
show is better,
movies and shows to books is I'm going to be doing the Bridgerton series. I'm going to be doing the Divergent books. I'm going to finally finish the entire series of Harry Potter on books.
Can I add one?
Lord of the Rings.
I don't know if you've seen the movie, but can I add a series that I think you'd actually really enjoy? It's young adult, so actually even the girls would like it. Did you ever watch the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children?
The movie, yeah.
The series, the book series is so good.
My nephew was reading the first book when we were on family vacation, and I was like, oh, he's reading these books. This is so great.
It's cute.
I was so proud.
I think because there's no romance aspect to, I mean, it's more, they're kids, so it's like more so like your first crush kind of deal. But I think it's something that your girls would enjoy because there's very little to no romance involved. And it's also just like, it's just a fun story. And it's a little creepy, hence why Tim Burton was the director.
Yeah, and I love creepy. So that would actually fit in really nice, probably because I plan on reading The Magicians as well.
Mm-hmm.
That would probably fit really nicely with that.
Yeah,
because it's a similar vibe. Like The Magicians is very like Chronicles of Narnia meets Harry Potter, but like darker and for grown-ups.
Mm-hmm.
So the creepy vibe is there.
Yeah. I think I'm going to do a lot of rereads this year.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like not just of like my favorites. Like there's a couple of books that I haven't read in a while that I wouldn't mind rereading. It's not necessarily a goal or resolution, but I just have a feeling I'm not going to read a ton of new things this year. Like I'm kind of in a reread vibe. Maybe it's just for now I'm in a reread vibe and then I'll get over it and go back to like new stuff. But
I'm going to be rereading a bunch of stuff that like I started a series. When I get to the series, I'm probably going to read the first book again just to like get myself back into the mode. Because you've taken a lot of
gaps.
Yes, a lot. And I mean, I pretty much everything I read in November was the start of a series.
Yeah.
So when I get to that series to read the rest of it, I know I'm probably going to have to go back and read the first book again as like a refresher. So I'm going to be rereading a lot, and I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Yeah,
like I'm going to reread Black Witch Chronicles and Iron Flame and Fourth Wing, and
yeah, that's the risk you take when you're a fantasy girly and you start every single series and then don't keep going. You just keep starting new ones.
Yeah, that was a flaw on my part, but that's part of the reason why this year one of my resolutions, I guess, is if I'm reading a series, I'm going to start and finish the series. No other books are going in the middle. Unless I like really need something like to give me a break from what's going on, then I might read
Black
something
Witch.
in the
I
middle.
had to take a break in between some of those books just because the material can get so dark and heavy that it's like I need to read something.
Oh yeah, Black Witch was very heavy. Black Witch got very heavy. And yeah, I definitely needed a break. I think it was after Iron Flower.
Yeah, I took a break between Shadow Wand and Demon Tide. That's where like I was like, no, I need to read something so happy right now because I'm just sad.
But I'm definitely more invested and I enjoy series more when I read them straight shot, like start to finish.
See, and I get overwhelmed with that. So
oh yeah, no, I feel more into the moment. It's kind of like when you're I hate watching like part 2 or the second of a movie series, and then like, wait, is that a reference to something that happened in the first one that I don't remember? Like, did that happen? Did they say this in the first one? You know what I mean? Like, I hate having those feelings, and it makes it harder for me to enjoy the read. So I think that, I mean, when I get to like Crowns of Nyaxia series and stuff like that, my ratings may change on the first books. I may enjoy them more because I'm going to be picking up more things that I didn't really catch the first time around now that I know the end of that book, and then go into the next books carrying it like straight through. I think I'm going to enjoy it more.
That's partially why I want to do some rereads now with other, like some of the books I have in mind, because I just want to like go back and be like, now I know everything. How do I feel about it again?
Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is getting to where it's like, oh, this is just not hitting the way it hit the first time, you know?
Yeah, I've never had that. All the books I reread is because I love them. Everything I reread is typically like my 4.5 and up stars.
I would be worried to ever reread the ACOTAR series. I'm worried about rereading Fourth Wing and Iron Flame and Black Witch. Because I'm like, I know I'm not going to feel the same way that I did when I read it the first time. Like, it's not going to hit the same way it did the first time.
No, but I feel like the nostalgia of it will be will be fun.
I could see myself rereading One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns just for the fun of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I love the Nightmare.
Love him.
I love him so much. And I would just enjoy reading that again.
Yeah, see, sometimes a reread is for a new experience. It's just to relive it. I endorse the rereads. I think they're fun.
I'm going to be doing it a little bit this year. So that's something I guess that's a resolution, is getting more okay with rereading.
Look at her somewhat adapting to my reading style.
Oh my God.
My
Look
reading
at you getting into fantasy. I guess we're rubbing off on each other.
We really are.
How is this gonna affect our future podcast episodes? Because part of the whole thing was that we are so different.
But it still
now
stands.
We're rubbing off on each other.
But I think it still stands, because even though I'm getting back into fantasy, I still don't prefer it. So like when I had said Black Witch or Boys of Tommen, or I think at the time I had you compare Fourth Wing and Iron Flame to Boys of Tommen.
Yeah.
I still would pick Boys of Tommen over that. And everyone knows I love Fourth Wing.
Iron Flame.
Right. I just read everything that was out for Black Witch. It's good. It is not even in my top 10. Like, I enjoy it. I like a lot of the fantasy stuff that I've been reading. I'm never going to pick it over romance, though. I am still a romance girl to my core.
Is it in your top 10 for fantasy?
Am I counting everything fantasy that I've ever read? Or just within the new fantasy of my re-entering era?
Which one's going to make me feel better?
Probably
Which answer am I going to like better?
The new stuff. Because with stuff that I read when I was a teen into now, you got no shot.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because like when I was a teen, I read...
That has a nostalgia factor, though. I can't compete with that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, I read Harry Potter and Hunger Games. Like, I read all of that as a teen. So, like, there's no shot Black Witch compares to that stuff. Because
Hunger Games is going to be on my list this year, too. I'm excited about that one. I'm actually going to try and see if I can get my teenagers to read Hunger Games with me.
You should, and then you should watch the movies after.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, they already love the movies. I'm thinking I might be able to get Sugar to read them because
it'll be interesting, because isn't there a new Hunger Games coming out this year? Is it this year or next year for Haymitch's story?
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
Oh, yeah, his book is coming out.
I didn't know about that. There was another series that I was trying to think of. Oh, Game of Thrones.
Good luck. I DNF'd those books. I couldn't do it.
Really?
They're just too much. It's the same reason why Demon Tide was hard for me. But, you know, now that I've seen all of Game of Thrones and House of Dragon, I have references in my head for people now, so it becomes less, I guess, in the book. I might try it again.
See, not this year. I like imagining the movie going by what I'm reading.
I'm not an imagery reader, so that's why it's not that enjoyable.
Oh, I am. That's one reason why I love fantasy so much, because I see it in my head.
There's a line. You get X amount of POVs before I'm done with you. And 18 is just too many.
Listen.
18 is too many.
It's one book, and that's where they had all split up to do their things.
No, 18 is too many. I don't care. I know it's beloved to you, but 18 is too many.
But aside from that,
it's hard to be aside from that, because then I would be cutting that book in half. For all the POVs I found unnecessary, It would be like cutting that book in half. And that's why I got the rating that it did. So
Rude.
my goal for the year, I went so back and forth on what I wanted to do as my reading goal, because I said I'm going to balance my hobbies more this year. And I just read 181 books. And there's that part of me that is just like, but could I hit 200? Could I do it? Because I really hit my stride in May. And if I kept going from how I did from May to December, if I just did that from January to December, I could hit 200 and still reduce on some of the other months. Because there were some months where I really hit outrageous numbers because I wanted to hit the 175 so badly. But I only read like 6 to 8 books between January and April of last year. Like I was just not in like the biggest reading phase. Like I was still reading. Like 8 is still a pretty high number for some people for reading wise, and it's still a great number to hit. But when my average is like 16 to 18, there's just that part of me that's like, could I hit 200? But would I have any balance with like playing games with my friends or watching TV? Like I had been telling you guys that I was rewatching How I Met Your Mother, and it's like I can't even start a new show because I don't have the time to watch a new show, but I have so many shows.
That's how I felt. I think that's part of the reason why I watched so many shows in the last day or two, is because it's been so long since I've watched anything.
Yeah. And that was like, I don't know, because you're not as big on TikTok, but you are on Instagram. That was like the big thing for when people were doing their reading wraps, that there were some people who were like, how do you read 100 plus books a year? Like there was one girl who got reamed and she was like, I mean that derogatory. Like, how do you read? Like, do you do anything else? And people were like, pull up your phone and show me what your screen time is.
What else is there?
But that's like, that was the thing. It's like, I don't watch TV. I don't. Like the thing that I can tell you, I watched Bridgerton last year and I watched Wicked. I don't watch TV. Like if
you know what you didn't
I
watch?
might watch. I don't want to talk about it. But I don't watch TV, and that's the thing. And you begged me to watch TV. I just don't. That's not the way I want to spend my time. I want to read. So that was like that thing of like, tell me how many, like if Netflix could give you a Wrapped, how many hours did you spend watching TV last year? How much time do you spend on your phone? For readers to my level, my phone time is quite low, and I don't watch TV. I spend those hours that people would use to rewatch Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
I use reading. So that's why I hit such high numbers, because I don't want to do anything else. But there's a part of me that's like, but I want to do other things. Like I would like to play Disney Dreamlight Valley to be cozy, or go build something in The Sims again. Like those are the things that I've always loved.
Which you could do while listening to audiobooks.
So that was my other thing, is I listened to, I think, 20 audiobooks last year.
Man.
More like
180.
Yeah, out of 181, I think 20 of them were audiobooks. But to be honest, too, 2 of them were my reread ones, where I was like, I want to listen to this because I can't, God of Fury, I can't read this for a 4th time, but I'll listen to it for my 4th time. So 2 of those weren't like new books. Those were, I got the audiobook because I just wanted to reread it. So 18 were genuinely new books. And I was like, damn, if I just audiobooked more, imagine what my number could be. And I could build in The Sims, or I could play Disney Dreamlight Valley.
It's true.
So
that is definitely counts. That would definitely count as balancing your
what
hobbies.
My numbers were if I was only doing audiobooks. Could I hit 300? Could I be psychotic and just hit like the most outlandish numbers? But no.
I don't know. Maybe like honestly, all of my books were audiobook.
Yeah.
In part, at least. Like, I mean, they were all audiobooks. Some of them were also Kindle, but because I was doing them at the same time. But all of my almost 70 books were audiobook.
Yeah. So I was like, I think I'm so sick and tired of the stigma around audiobooks of like, oh, well, you didn't really read it.
Same.
Fuck you. If we both took a quiz on this book and I could answer all of them, did I or did I not read the book? So
also, I could pronounce the names correctly.
yeah, especially that was my thing, is I think I'm going to up how many audiobooks I do a year. And I think I'm going to mainly, because romance books, like I can read those so quickly. I don't. Fantasy I'm slower with because there's so many crazy fucking names.
There's so much, yeah.
So I think I'm going to try and do like 2 or 3 audiobooks a month. Probably my fantasy reads. Like, I'll be honest, the way to get through the Throne of Glass series is I might paperback an audiobook with those, especially again because of names. But if there is something that's nice about being able to read a book that's more difficult using an audiobook, and I can do other things.
Yeah.
Like I can clean my house, or I could throw dinner in a crock pot, I can fold laundry. So I think I'm gonna try and do more audiobooks Realistic goal I put was 150 because I can hit that number and still like function and do other things.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't want to go so like my head was like I'm only gonna do 100, but then I was like, but I just did 181. Like 100 like feels weird after the number I just hit, and I was so close. So my goal put down is 150. Secretly, part of me. It's
you
like,
and your secret goals.
Could I hit my secret goal though? I didn't say my goal was 175 until we were like really close to the end of the year because I didn't want to jinx it. So maybe I'm jinxing myself. But I mean, I have to read 31 physical books, throw on like 24 to 30 audiobooks. I'm already hitting 50 right there. So really, if I just read while I'm gaming, I could hit 200. It's a possibility. I'm not going to put it as my Goodreads goal.
Actually, I think you could do that easily. Especially if you're doing it during the day, like while you're doing laundry and dishes and whatever else. Like that's going to be very easy for you to hit that number listening to more audiobooks, doing that kind of stuff.
And I'm getting more into using my Libby app and then also just trying to find other sources because my state library isn't the best, so it is lacking in some audiobooks, but using like Everand, Audible, Spotify Premium now includes it. Even your Prime membership, if you use Amazon Music, they're now including one audiobook a month. So I'm like, when I look at it, between all the things that I use already, I have like 5 or 6 audiobooks for free through the services plus my Libby app.
Yeah.
So in theory, like
that's really good.
Yeah, I could do more audiobooks and utilize what I have. Like I'm already paying for Amazon Music. I may as well get the free audiobook. I already have Spotify Premium. I may as well get the 15 hours of listening. So yeah.
Well, because what you said 5 or 6 total, right?
Per month. A month. I think per month I'm gonna do like 3 or 4.
No, but how many do you have like available to you?
So I get 1 Audible credit. I have 3 Everand credits. I get 1 with Amazon Music, and I get 15 hours, so basically 1 with Spotify Premium. And that's not including my 3 slots that I can use on Libby.
So that's 6 right there.
Yeah. So I could be doing more.
I mean,
the slots are there. The possibilities are endless.
That's 72 books right there for the year.
So again, it's 150, but secretly inside I'm thinking 200 might be. And then in 2026, no one let me do that. Let me hit 200 one time to say I did it. And if
then
I
never again.
No one, every single person who listens to this podcast or has my phone number or is related to me, do not let me do it again. Let me be psychotic this one year, maybe hit my 200 reading goal, and then no one let me do it again.
Yeah, never again.
Because I need a little more balance. I'm also going to be going back to school this year, so like the 200 really is my reach goal. But I have to send it to you. I'll find it. But speaking on the people who were like mad at the people who read a lot of books, there was one woman who did a video and she's like, I read 887 books last year. And there are people in the comments who are like, oh, I just had to delete my whole paragraph because she's going and going. And then she starts putting up the book and it's like the Berenstain Bears. And then it's Go the Fuck to Sleep. Like it's all the children's books. And people are like, could you imagine if mothers did that? Like if we had to Goodreads the books that we read,
right?
The numbers I could hit. Do you know how many times I read Peter Rabbit last year? I could recite that book. Like, I wouldn't even have to look at it. I could recite that whole book to you.
That is so funny.
I was like, a mother's Goodread account would be hilarious. Because,
oh, yeah.
Do you know my numbers? If I just go off the books I read to my kids.
I kind of want to go through and read all of the books that my kids are going to read over the school year.
Mm-hmm.
Although that's going to change for one of my kids. But, like, because our school has, being a charter school that's, like, very focused on classical literature, they are...
I know you sent me their list at the beginning of the year, and I was really impressed with it. And I've read a lot of it.
They have a pretty impressive reading list, and it's pretty extensive. I mean, each grade has like 8 or 9 books that they read throughout the year. And I'm kind of tempted to start reading the books on the required reading list.
My mom did that
for the school because I mean they're good books. Like the younger grades, like I've read all those a million times for the kids, but getting to like. Because I didn't read the Iliad or the Odyssey.
It's crazy. Well, I mean, you didn't go to a public or even
I didn't.
I
didn't read Crime and Punishment. I know what it's about, but like I didn't read it. I know I did, but I don't remember reading To Kill a Mockingbird.
Mm-hmm.
But
which is a sin. I love that book.
I know. I'm about to rebind that
like
too.
To Kill a Mockingbird for me.
I'm about to rebind that too
I
for
love that book.
my oldest for her birthday. That's what she wanted for her birthday, is for me to rebind To Kill a Mockingbird next for her.
My little Capricorn sister. I love her.
I know.
But I
yeah,
feel like my mom did that with us. Like, she read a lot of the books that we were reading, and then I'm almost positive my youngest sister, she had to borrow a book from me. I don't remember if it was Lord of the Flies or Animal Farm, but it was one of those books. She had to read it. I have all the books because I am a romance girly, but at my core, I love classical literature. And they had borrowed it from me, and my mom read it to her. So that way, because my mom wanted to read it, but my youngest sister, like, she retains information better by hearing it than if she had to like, she could read something and retain zero of what she just read.
Yeah.
So
I'm the same way. That's why I have to do both.
It to her. And then she did a lot better that way. I don't remember what it was, but yeah. So that way, technically, my mom was getting in the books too.
Yeah. I have to do that as well. Like, I have to hear it. That's why I mostly do both, either audio or audio and Kindle. Because if I'm just reading it, I am not going to focus.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can't. My brain's too loud. So I have to have the audiobook to, like, drown out all the crazy that's going on in my mind. The way my mind races with all the things that I have to do. I have to be listening to something to be able to focus. That's one reason why my TVs are always on. Even if it's not something I'm watching, it's just got to be on, because I need the audio to tune out a lot of the never-ending lists as a mom that are going through my head. I have to listen to something. If it's quiet and I'm reading, can't do it.
Yeah, that's why I normally have like an ambiance, or depending on, like, I might have a friend's Twitch stream on, like, just something. I need noise. I don't know if that's just our brains being a little bit or our mommy brains a little bit too. Like, there needs if it's quiet, something's going down. I need noise. Noise is good.
Yeah, the quiet, like, it's too quiet.
It's too quiet. Something's happening. And every time
quiet.
Something is happening.
Yeah, every time.
I have a few more resolutions. So one of them is technically was my book one from last year. It was really the only one that I'd, like, truly set. So Rena Kent is an author that, you know, I found last year and I love. Clearly, God of Fury.
Read everything that she's written, right? No.
That was my goal last year. So she has 34 books out. She has 2 more coming out this year. I read 19 of those 34 last year. So my goal is to finish off the rest of the Rena Kent universe. So I still have all those books,
really cool.
plus the 2 coming out this year. But I really like her writing. And the thing that I kind of love about Rena Kent is no one knows what she looks like. She is like an anonymous.
She's like a Sia.
There's no pictures of her. When she does interviews, it's a black Zoom camera. She does not have social media. Don't even know if Rena Kent is her real name, but she is, like, no one knows what this woman, like, it's like, you know who they are, you know their work, or you know their voice, you don't know what they look like. There's a full anonymous thing going on. No one knows what she looks like. She keeps her life extremely private. And I just really,
that's so
really
cool, though.
that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like, that is so neat.
So my goal is to actually finish. So that was my goal last year. I did pretty good. Of like 34 books, I read 19 of them. So my goal is to actually finish that and then read her 2 new books from this year. I think I could do that.
Yeah.
Some of them are long, some of them aren't. But just like I did that last year of, like, I just read like 2 or 3 a month that were by her. And then I kind of flatlined out on it. I mean, technically, I read God of Fury 4 times. So I did technically read at least 1 book of hers a month every year last year. It just so happened that, like, the end of the year was just God of Fury, God of Fury, God of Fury, God of Fury. But I love that book. I don't know what else to say. So that is, like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to finish the Renaverse, as it's called.
You know what? That made me think of what I think one of my resolutions is going to be is I want to read more books with, like, authors who are on Instagram and TikTok, like the indie authors that are promoting their book on there, like, actually have content, you know? I want to actually, because I follow a few, I follow, like, Bryn Weaver and
Nevessa Allen.
Yes, Nevessa Allen. I follow them, and I think it would be really cool to, like, find other authors like that, small authors, and just read everything that they put out.
Yeah, I really love indie authors. Like, that is where my niche is, I think, is I read a lot of authors who aren't a part of a big publishing house, and a lot of their books are on KU because they're just trying to get out there.
Yeah.
Like, I found Chloe Walsh. She was an independent author for a very long time. And I love the Boys of Tolman series. So I think indie authors are really fun, especially when it is someone who blows up later.
Yeah. And I kind of like that. I kind of like seeing also like when they're getting ready to put out the next book and they do a lot of the teasers, like the way Rebecca Yarros has been teasing with a lot of her books. I want to read more of her books too. But like the way that she was doing all these teasers for, you know, Onyx Storm over the past year, I like that. I like that vibe. And like it gets me more into it. So I want to read more of those books by those authors.
I want to read. There's a couple of TikTokers that I love. Obviously, we did an episode with them. A couple of them wrote their own books and they're coming out this year. So I'm excited to.
Really?
Yeah. So one of them.
That's exciting.
She wasn't in the video, but it was someone I had told you about. She has a book coming out in like 2 weeks. There's another author. I don't even necessarily like the tropes that she's going with, but I just want to read it because I'm like, I've been following you on TikTok for years and I just want to read it and support you.
Yeah.
Because that's exciting that like you wrote a book, but also like I love your romance recommendations. So in theory, like your book should be great.
I wonder, I mean, I was just thinking that like, I wonder what that would be like to write a book. Like, do you think that they are writing these books? Like, this is the way I would want these books to end. Like,
I'm so excited.
That's what I would be doing.
The one that I know is coming out in like 2 weeks. She is like, I go for her for all the smut recommendations. So I'm dying to know what her book is like. Whereas the other one, she's not huge on smut, but she loves like the slow burn and tension and banter. So that's why I'm excited for hers. I don't necessarily love the bodyguard and the princess trope, but like it could be interesting. And then the one coming out is like ex-fiance's brother. So I love a little taboo.
The way you
can't wait. I can't wait for it. It's gonna be so fun. I can't wait. It's gonna be such an interesting read because she is very much like all of her recs are based on chili peppers versus stars, and she will say like there's not a great plot but the smut, however. So I'm really curious to see what her book is like.
Yeah, that would be fun. I could see doing that, following people like that and reading everything that they put out just because you know it's got to be good.
Yeah,
because of their critiques of other books.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. And then obviously, you know, the other one is I want to read more fantasy. So obviously gonna do some buddy reads with you and Kaylee. That'll force me essentially. I will read at least 12 fantasy books this year if we do a month-to-month thing.
Yeah.
But I do want to go back into my fantasy era that I was when I was a teenager. This one is dumb, but it's for me. I want to read one thriller and one nonfiction book this year.
Oh, just one for the year?
At least. So I didn't want to put myself more than that because
I got really excited. I thought you were going to say one thriller a month. I was like, yes!
No, I'm just doing one like full on, most likely it's going to be a Frida McFadden book, but just like one legit thriller because it's not my genre and I don't want to put myself up to fail of like, I'm going to read 12 when I read like one or two and it's just not for me. And then one nonfiction, and I already kind of picked the nonfiction that I was going to read, but then it may end up being 2 because I may end up reading another nonfiction with someone else. I'll see what the vibe is. But just like, I was like, I'm just going to throw in 2 books of like a genre that's just not my style. Just to say that like I rounded myself out a little more.
Honestly,
that's why I didn't put a number on it. I'm like, I just want
to
try.
If I do that, I'll never do it.
You exactly.
Know what I mean?
I wasn't setting myself up to fail. And I don't want to, my TBR is too big to read shit I don't want to read. I'm not doing it. So that's why I was like, one. And I have a couple of nonfiction, like autobiographies on my TBR. Like I want to read the Jeanette McCurdy's I'm Glad My Mom Died, reading the Britney Spears. Like there's a couple of nonfictions I have, but I'm not setting myself up to fail of I'm going to read more, just one. I feel like that's a very easy accomplishable goal for me is one.
You know, one of the things I kind of want to do is read the books, like historical fiction books, some of the ones that I read when I was in school. I don't even know where to find them. Like some of them, I remember them.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the names. I remember the books. There was one that was very Anne Frank. It's called Number the Stars. But yeah, I want to read like all those books again.
Well, I'll go over my last resolution. It's not really a resolution, but it's more so, as you recall, last year I set a goal for myself that I was going to keep a reading tracker for myself for the whole year. And if I successfully did it, I would treat myself by getting a book journal because I am never the best at journals. Like I have one journal that's full, but it's like over 7 years because I just am not the most consistent with stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I don't want to spend the money on a really nice book journal if I can't keep up with it. I kept up with all 181 of my books that I read last year, and I are all in a book tracker that my mom got me.
Yeah.
So I was about to buy myself one, and then my mom was like, what do you want for Christmas? I was like, a book journal. So she bought me the book journal that I really, really wanted for my book reviews and such. And then Mel got one that is more, it's a book journal, but it's more like a book challenge journal. So it's not like, it's not like a page-to-page review system. It's more of the most like random like bingo cards and like brackets. Like it's just more like funsy stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I have not one, I have 2 book journals this year that I'm going to fill out, and I'm going to fill out for the entire year.
That's kind of cool. I like that. That is a resolution of mine too, is to actually use the actually do the book journaling, because I do want to do that.
I want to do it, and I want to like really stick through it this year, and then kind of get a vibe for what I liked, didn't like, and what I would change, because I think ultimate goal is to create our own. And I really want it to be something I'm like really proud of. There's nothing in it that I would change. So I really have never had one. So doing 2 and being able to pull from them for what I like and don't like, I'm really excited. And I really like the ones that I got.
Yeah.
They're very pretty. We're going to be realistic with ourselves. I'm not setting myself up to fail. And then I think my only other like goal, it's not even a goal for this year, I need to get my Kindle streak back. As we know, I was approaching 500, so that's going to take a little bit more than 2025 to get there. But I want my reading goal back, or my reading
I wonder if I might make a secret, not secret goal.
My secret, not secret goal is, getting my Kindle reading streak back, but that means I have to use the Kindle app every day. So even if I'm reading a paperback, I want to make sure I read like at least a chapter off of an ebook if I'm reading a paperback. Yeah. And then keeping up with Goodreads and Fable.
So far, Fable's my favorite, but my secret, not secret goal is, I think, going to not break my reading streak on Fable. Like that, the one that it tracks there, where it's like, I read today. Like that was hard for me on my home screen.
That's what I need to do. I need to add a widget, because for me, the nice thing about Goodreads and Kindle is it automatically does it with my Kindle, so I don't have to worry about it. Fable, luckily, there's the editing tool, because I keep forgetting to edit it and say, hey, I read today. So like I am reading, and at least Goodreads and Kindle know that. I do have to get better about reminding myself, like Fable doesn't just know because it's not connected to the Kindle Unlimited app or Amazon, so I have to do that myself. But I think I have like a 70-something day streak right now on Fable.
I think I had like 61, I think was my best last year, and then I broke it. I missed it by a day. One day, broke it. Of course, then like I was just like, ugh. Because it would say like 3 days in a row, good for you. And I'm like, jerk.
I messed up on my birthday. Like I read on my birthday, but I wasn't really on my phone that day. Yeah. And I forgot to edit it, and I was like, no. Because I know some of our friends, that's the one thing that's odd about the app. Some of our friends don't have that editing feature. So I was like, I'm gonna edit it real quick, and then I'm never gonna forget again, because what if I don't get that feature ever again? So in closing, we're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it.
We'll hold each other accountable. We'll check in. We'll have other people, hold us accountable and check in with us. Because some of these, obviously, like Kaylee's a part of our fantasy.
I mean, we've got to stick to these. We're putting this out there on the podcast. Like, we have to stick to them.
I'm going to reference back to this podcast episode in like August and be like, all right, what am I fucking up on? What can I get back on track if I'm behind? So what I'm the most nervous about is definitely the book buying and having a 0 physical book TBR. That is my hardest one I'm giving myself this year, because I know who I am to my core.
Yeah, I think my main ones are going to be reading, just going through the series from start to finish, and then like reading a bunch of things that I already love as movies and shows, like reading their original books. And I'm going to try and make my goal 100. And then everything else, like I really do want to book bind, but that's not really like a goal. It's because I want it to be fun. Yeah. So I don't want to put a lot of pressure on it, but
that's the thing. Reading is still my number one favorite hobby, and I do this for funsies. However, I am the eldest child. I have to add a little bit of competition with myself into it.
Yeah, that's fair too. It does, making it a little bit competitive is either hit or miss for me, because sometimes it makes me push really hard, and then sometimes it's like, well, I've already messed it up, so why even try? Like I get into my little melodramatic moments where I'm like, why bother?
See, and that's how I know our little book friends, and we all click really well together, because we're not competitive with each other. We're just competitive with ourselves, which I enjoy.
And we all tease each other for it.
Yes. 100%. Yeah, like we are not the group that's like, oh, you only read 20 books. Like, no. I'm so proud of you that you read 20 books. Like, Anne only read 10 books and she was like, it's only 10. And I was like, dude, you haven't read a book for yourself in over 6 years. You fucking read 10 books. I love you. I'm so proud. So that's why, like, we're not the like, I read this many books, or I read. Sometimes we are like when we buddy read, I read this book first, or I finished before you.
Yeah, I finished it first. Yeah.
Because I definitely wasn't going to start Reckless. And then Kaylee did. And then she was like, I'm just going to finish it on this day. And I was like, well, no, I'm going to start the book and I'm going to finish before you. Did you see who finished the book at 4 a.m. last night? Because she was not going to let me finish before her. Kaylee. So
I love that.
The only way we're competitive is when we're buddy reading something and we get into the I'm going to finish first.
Yeah, and could not be me. Like, what did I say yesterday? I was like, I haven't started yet. I know you're shocked.
Yeah, because you still haven't even finished the buddy read that we were supposed to start on the 1st. So
I haven't finished the buddy read that.
Oh, that's right. You didn't even finish
buddy
Conclave.
Read from last. Yeah, I haven't even started Conclave.
Oh, you're behind, girl. Catch up.
I'm behind. I'm gonna catch up. But I'm also like, I'm reading stuff that I'm enjoying right now. So I'm not like, I don't feel too bad about it.
I mean, I don't think you're gonna love Will's book, but
it's not that
really good.
It's not that I hate those books. It's that I have other books that I'm enjoying a lot more. I need to keep up with that momentum, because then I can use that momentum of having a lot of fun in the books to read the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Reading is for fun, but we're a little competitive, and that's why we mesh so well.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us today. We hope you enjoyed the vibes. If you want to keep up to date, make sure you're following us on Instagram and TikTok.
And if you want to watch us discuss any of these live, we do have a Twitch, and we're going to stream. We try to aim for Fridays. Sometimes it's weeble wobbly because we're moms and we're busy. But you can follow us over on there and chit chat with us. And we post the videos to YouTube later, so you can watch there as well.
Till next time, you are awesome. You are doing great.
Love you. Now stop stalling and go read that book.
Bye.
Bye.